and its sexual signal.
Yeah.
So my whole thing began, how do I turn this sexual signal off, and then where are you putting women's consent and choice in this? That means I have a signal which I have no control of. So you're signaling, like, okay, a signal should be when I want to use it, so without me wanting, and I'm all for use it, man, use your sexuality. I'm not against women using their sexuality. But what if you don't want to use it? I mean, it should not be, don't sexualize a being so much that they cannot be.
I was reading one of your interviews, beautiful interviews, and you said there that Sindoor is like LOC, line of control.
I did in Birla Academy in Calcutta, had a show. It was called Line of Control. They were India. Most people use barbed wire. I put a 20-foot hair installation with and all the Mashimas and my own husband's Jethima and all came and Itaki. Line of control. It means you belong to a man.
Yeah.
Men don't have to belong to anybody. That remains. So, well. But then I'm not trying to offend people, no? But little bit of challenges, it's a tough one. So basically, I have somebody comes in to help cook, not Mona. Somebody who comes in to help clean. Mona does a lot of looking after Ma, which is my mother-in-law, and helps in everything else. Basically, helps me in everything. We agree and we disagree, but that is how it is. Sindoor also, Mona puts full lal, knowing very well my opinion on it. She challenges me on everything, which is good. I like it.
मैं नेपाल से हूँ, बट मैं बचपन से यहीं हूँ, यहीं पढ़ी हूँ और मेरी शादी भी यहीं पे हुई है। मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, तो वो तो पता ही है, आजकल तो हर किसी को जॉब करने की ज़रूरत पड़ती ही है, तो इसलिए मैं जॉब करने लगी हूँ। मैं पहले स्पार मॉल में करती थी, प्रमोटर थी मैं उसमें, पर वहाँ पे सैलरी बहुत कम थी, तो उससे घर मतलब बच्चों की ज़रूरतें भी नहीं पूरी होती थी, तो इसलिए फिर मैंने यहाँ सैलरी ज़्यादा मिल रही तो मैं यहाँ आ गई।
And then when we moved here, I had to give up because Film City, Noida, and then again, that's when you realize, oh, woman, or maybe just being. I didn't think of woman, I just thought of mother, because my child had high fever and my work was 2 hours away, and she's sick, and I have a commitment because the shoot is going on in this lot, and my husband is also working. It's not that he wouldn't be there, and we're like, what to do? And so then I said, okay, I'll do only freelance work and only the design. And then slowly I remember my partner, husband, I find it weird, I never called him my husband. So I said, what is wrong with you? Why don't you get back to art? You know you want to, you're an artist and you've just not been. And I just came back and just took the plunge into as late as 2007, 2008. So in 2000, an uncle said, Gurgaon has this new thing. This is one of the earliest complexes where security is like people can't enter. So it was multiple things of how did we end up in this bubble, which I actually half resent and half grateful for. I'm one of those very divided people because I'm like, what is this place? Yet it has afforded me a certain kind of, less anxiety.
Coming to Gurgaon, did it feel safer? And in what ways has it felt safer? And in what ways, like you said, that this then became a microcosm that slowly you learned that it had its own problems. But your first sort of getting out of Delhi was to seek this safe haven. But now this haven has its own...
No, it is still a haven. Like, don't get me wrong. It's a good place. It's a nice community. It's a supportive community. It has all the material amenities as well as a community support. So in that way, it's great. But so if I end there, all is good, which a lot of people are ending on. My problem is that the minute you start depending on generator, you don't care about the state supplying electricity. When you stop walking on the pavement, you don't care about what the state of the footpath is, what is the lighting, what is happening to women, because you can afford to sit in a car and go. So you understand? So it's a privilege we've bought ourselves, and then you have no right to complain about anything if you want to change or sort of thing, because you are not doing that. Unless you're walking the street, how can you claim for safety on the street? You can bifurcate that aspect. Obfuscate. You're just going away from it. So it's that kind of thing. So this kind of bubble living also kind of, annoys you and keeps you away from all the problems that are there, because it's only it's just income that has gotten you away from it. Systematically, nothing is changing. In fact, the inequality is widening, and of course, at the root of all these problems is the gross inequality that we live with.
मैं बॉम्बे की हूँ।
अच्छा, तो बॉम्बे और दिल्ली में कितना फर्क हो जाता है?
बहुत फर्क है। हम तो बॉम्बे में कभी नहीं डरे हैं, हम तो नाइट शो भी देखने गए हैं।
हाँ।
तो वहाँ पे हमें कभी डर नहीं लगा कि मार्केट जाना है तो हमें 8 बजे का टाइम देखना है या 9 बजे का। लेकिन यहाँ मुझे अगर 8 बजे के बाद जाने पर तो मैं तो मतलब जाना मजबूरी है, लेकिन नहीं जा सकते।
तो ऐसा क्यों है यहाँ पे? मतलब ऐसी क्या चीज़ है यहाँ जो इतना लोगों को डर लगता है?
वही चोरी का, कि कोई छीन के ले जा रहा है, कोई मोबाइल पे बात कर रहे है उसका छीन लिया, और फिर मेरे साथ तो हादसा हुआ तो मैं तो ज़्यादा डरती हूँ। ये है।
पर यहाँ छीना झपटी चोरी का
ज़्यादा है।
क्यों?
अब क्यों तो यही है कि लोग पहन के घूम रहे हैं, लोग चोरी कर रहे हैं। और लेकिन बॉम्बे में भी हमने तो कभी देखा नहीं, होता तो वहाँ भी होगा कभी हम, लेकिन वहाँ डरे नहीं हम कभी रात में निकलने में।
Only 40 audio clip.
Can you tell us a little about this complex?
So it was one of us fell in love with it in terms of it's a very, very beautifully designed complex. It's one of the oldest ones in Gurgaon, and I like the architecture a lot. It's clean lines, lots of air and light. There's a little vegetable shop from where we get our sabjis, which is right now badly stocked. अभी सब खत्म हो गया, अभी हम देर से आए हैं, so it's not very well stocked अभी, सब कुछ खत्म हो गया.
The shop is enough?
Huh? They do, and you can pre-order. So tomorrow I want aloo, but they'll get. So it's small, but they also get for that. Obviously, I don't think dressing a certain way invites sexual assault or anybody's ever asking for it. Of course not. And do women with veils get assaulted? Of course they do. So it's not really about whether you're wearing a sari or a mini skirt or a burqa. It doesn't matter. Misogynistic, violent sexual attacks are what they are. Having said that, I think, there's a problem when you verbalize what I'm about to say, because I'm talking about one pocket. Now, this does not mean it's the only one. So I very often hear to complain, you're being classist. It's not that. But a certain class of young girls do face sexual harassment from another class of men in certain areas. So please remember, it is a multiple layered thing when I say that. I am not saying, oh, the poor guys are sexually assaulting the rich girls. Not at all. And people don't seem to understand that. But yes, there is a certain amount of hatred of these women around. They're like, what is this? You see, you have not carried the nation along in progress. You have done bubbles of progress and sort of thing. The young women, I talk to a lot of young women, I say, you people have claiming we are all feminists. You are a fourth wave or beyond feminist with no idea of the history of feminism. Therefore, I'm called an anti-feminist. Why? Because the very, very radical feminist says, "Arey, iska to purana type ka khayal hai." She's that type who will tell her, "Bachcho, ye nahi pehno." The anti-feminist is called. And the other women who've been comfortable being women and believe in, different, I don't like to call myself that bra-burning feminist, that way. I'm in trouble with both groups all the time, because I keep saying, but it's not this or that. This choosing, I've always said, why wouldn't I, it's like the weather, like, why wouldn't I choose? Of course I have every right to wear what I want, but is there nothing called an environment or respect of a culture? Now, respect of a culture, again, is a problematic term. That must I go to Old Delhi in my shorts? Must I? I keep asking that. I'm not saying I shouldn't be able to. Of course I should be able to. But must I do it? Or should I say, how do I make Old Delhi a place, I tell these young girls, a place where everybody can wear shorts and not get into trouble? And this I find missing in people, that they are only claiming, this is my right. Of course it is. I support you. Without saying, How do we make this happen for all? Because nobody is thinking about others. Everybody is this individualistic thinking when it comes to dressing and my right, my body. This is not going to get us anywhere, and we are seeing it. The kind of violent waves that are coming now, it should have been so much better. Why is it getting worse? We cannot do pocket-wise progress.
एक बार मैं मेट्रो में जा रही थी, एक लड़की ने बहुत छोटा कपड़ा पहना था, बहुत ही छोटा। वो सारे लेडीज उसमें थी, सारे लड़के की झुंड आके वो कोने पे खड़ी हो गई। अब वो लड़की इतना शर्म से हो गई, और मैं कई लोगों को ये सुनते कि ऐसे कपड़े पहन के इनको बाहर निकलना चाहिए। मतलब आप साथ नहीं दे रहे हो उसका, मतलब उसी पे आप वो कर रहे हो ब्लेम, उसकी मर्जी। उस बेचारी ने अपने गले से स्कार्फ निकाल के पूरे पैर पे ढक दिया। अब मुझे इतना बुरा लगा ना उसके लिए, क्योंकि लोग बाग इस तरफ से लेडीज सारी ऐसी बातें कर रहे हैं कि ऐसे पहन के आना ही नहीं चाहिए, आएंगे तो लड़के तो देखें।
और देखो लेडीज बोल
रही है, तो इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि सेफ आप कहीं नहीं हो। अगर वो लड़की भीड़ भी जाती है, क्योंकि आप तो उसको दोष दे रहे हो, वो तो उसको पकड़ बिकड़ के ले जाते हैं, आप क्या कर सकते हैं? कुछ नहीं कर सकते। नेता भी तो बोलते हैं कि छोटे कपड़े पहनते इसलिए रेप होते। निर्भया कांड तो ठंड में हुई थी, मतलब एक बात है। वो तो खैर उनका तो बोलने का काम है, क्योंकि उनकी लड़कियों को नहीं हो रहा ना, उनकी लड़कियां सेफ है ना। अगर नेताओं के भी होने लग जाए तो फिर अपने आप सिस्टम बदल जाएगा।
पर क्या कपड़े कुछ होता है लगता है?
बोलते हैं नहीं, मैं तो नहीं मानती हूँ। मैं छोटे बड़े का सिर्फ मैं अच्छा और बुरा बता सकती हूँ, गंदा नहीं बता सकती कि ये आप पे अच्छा मैं शॉर्ट्स पहन के घूमूंगी तो मुझे पता है मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगेगा।
शायद अच्छा लगे,
ट्राई करते हैं, अच्छा लगा।
मैं अच्छा बुरा का बता रही हूँ, लेकिन मैं नियत खराब नहीं मान सकती। और वो एक मानसिक बीमारी है, हर कोई नहीं करता। मैं तो वो भी नहीं समझती कि इंसान नशे में करता है। नशे में तो माँ बहन के साथ जाके तो कोई नहीं करता ना, है ना। तो एक मतलब जिसको करना है वाला हिसाब है, उसको डर नहीं है कोई चीज का। तो मैं गुड़गांव तो सेफ नहीं है।
So I think what you are seeing visually is a lot of women out in public now. Women in public spaces. Visually, yes, it exists. Again, so at every point, how are so many women out in public? They're in pubs, they're drinking, they're all over these, markets and everywhere. They're on streets, a lot more women out. So you say, things are changing. No, they're not. These women are out instead of cooking and cleaning because other women in their homes are taking their space. I don't understand why the people who are threatened by the have-nots. Are you afraid of if you're afraid of a revolt or a revolution, it's very different. But why are people being threatened? Why should a lady in here say that, oh my God, now they're going to start dressing like us? And I'm like, what does that statement even mean? Like, gosh, you can't tell that she's a maid because she looks like an owner. And also the terminology used. And almost as if you're threatened by that person's appearance, how is it threatening you? I think what is threatened is your power is so linked with oppression or exploitation of some kind that it's a thing of you're losing power. In that way, this is sort of a private bubble. You're trying to do what is the homogeneity in this group, but they're united only by a certain kind of having arrived in terms of behavior in terms of what upper middle class Indians do. They're travelled, well exposed, everybody knows what sushi is. There are very weird things that are in common. I actually have friends saying, oh my God, the way you speak to your husband, Megha, is very bad. Why? Because I speak to him like an equal. Like we talk like we are in college, like we are friends. And I've actually had my dear friends and I said, what do you mean now? That's no way to talk to your husband. Okay, so we still have people within here who are telling me things like that. Also, there's a social behavior. I don't change my behavior like socially, like my way of talking. I won't change it. If I talk to you like this here, I'll talk to you like this everywhere. But that is not seen as that you don't behave like this publicly, right? You don't slap him on the back and say, oi, ganje, or something. But I do. So maybe it's wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm fine. But that's not accepted as you be a little gentle. But then again, it's about gender performance thing. Like women are quiet, women are gentle, women cross their leg, women behave a little better. None of these guys are bereft of that idea, let me tell you. I've had somebody walking with me who told a helper sitting there, घुटने साथ रख, घुटने join करके बैठो, कैसे बैठे हो? She was wearing tights and she's sitting, this young girl. I just looked at her, I said, you had no business doing that. It looks so bad. She should, we were told, I said, so what happens at your convent school? You're getting huge fight. So, I don't know. It's every day there is something. I don't think I thought. Really, I am the kind of person who bumbled along getting married. And it was not out of, it was just the thing, If I lived in with him, my family would have been fine. It's a particularly extreme family. I was living in with him. That is okay. Maybe not his parents, little more conservative. But we would have negotiated, got married. And sort of thing. And it's like, it's him. We were friends and sort of thing. So it's a partnership. Yet, of course, do I play the wife role within the home? I do. Is it because of my conditioning or is it because of my personality? I don't know. So maybe it's my conditioning, but I think it's part of I love to cook, I love to feed people, but it's seen as a domestic job. But yeah, it's my home also. I'm not at all think it's anti-feminist in any way to cook or clean. I'm very happy doing it. I can't manage alone. I need help, that's all. Men still have a problem with that. So I can claim my female identity because I am privileged, I am just very lucky, I've had a very liberal upbringing. The males still can't break out of it. Even within these kind of societies where they have the money and they have the education, they'll help. They're much nicer. They'll be down. You'll see the young men now. I'm talking about those in their 20s now. We have some. They'll be in the park with their children much more. Also because they're working from home. So right now there's a lot of men being very, very progressive because they have the time. Let's not take away that. So there is a current trend of, because this work from home has given men a lot more time. It is a commuting time has gone, if not the work hours. So men are like, now and then they have to face it, right? They can't go anywhere and the kid is asking you for something and there is food and now you can't be away. So now men have actually for the first time recently I'm seeing a lot of changes because men are now having to face the kitchen, the playroom, the toilet, they're suddenly there. Presence also makes a difference. So it's by sheer presence. And what is the commonality between this man and say a man who's living in the peri-urban or the shanty town next thing? Very little. This pandemic threw up 1 billion male cooks. All over my social media, every man is cooking. He is cooking out of joy, out of pleasure, out of time, not out of necessity. No Indian male, mostly of previous generations. I have a husband I have a nice partner. He keeps saying, Megs, what can I do? He's there. But he's inept, poor chap. I hope he doesn't kill me. But he says, oh my God, but I don't know how to. He was never taught how to. Nor was I. But then again, gender performance role. Somehow I love to eat, so I love to cook. I don't find it a problem at all. He keeps saying, okay, so what do I do with this? Do I need to peel? And I just leave it. So what happens is, I don't take his help, not because he's unwilling, because I don't want to spend that effort saying, I'm not sitting and teaching you now. It's easier for me to just do it in 10 minutes rather than spend 1 hour teaching you now. So buzz off, I don't need your help. Then he said, well, I keep walking, she doesn't let me, she does it all herself, then she whines. So the male, so yeah, there are a lot of progressive men who genuinely believe in equality, want to be there, but they don't have the tools. They're struggling, they're trying, a lot of men. They're fasting with their wives if they're doing Karwa Chauth. Or sort of thing. But working women are the ones who are going on cycles. They are educating their kids. The girls who are coming to my household to help me, I say, yes, Gurgaon is changing, that these women are out. But they are also out not because of anything progressive, is because they have realized to live, their men are useless. A lot of them have this story, not this one, but a lot of them, I speak a lot, is that the husband is a drunkard. He just takes my money and my salary. Can you keep my salary and save it for me? Because if I take it home, he'll take it. I said, so why do you tolerate this? So she said, because I need him. Sorry. I said, why? She says, because see, you don't understand. In our society, the male protection is still needed. The male member of the marriage having affairs, extramarital affairs, are a huge thing. I think also because of age and sort of thing. I don't know. That seems to be something that, in terms of gender troubles of the women in here, that is something I've heard of often. And it becomes a big thing of, and then you start saying you can't walk out, you can't think, because again, these are dependent wives, but a lot of them are also earning. So dependence is also not only financial, right? The whole structure is of dependence on the male. But a lot of them, even if you have the guts and sort of thing, The thing is, it's not worth the choice of leaving. A lot of women can today walk out with 50%, you know, but the thing is, they're like, I've had your children, this is my lifestyle, and I'm not going. I've heard people say that. The thing of talking about the men is, I don't know, the men are mostly very, very successful men. So let's say you're asking about men, they're defined by economic success. Is a big thing. Their wives are very supportive of them. They are supportive of the wives in that very, I am looking after my wife. I think it's unsaid, but there is definitely that. And the women are like, I am a proud house. I'm a proud homemaker. I like my job. I like cook. I like a good house. I am dusting all day with my 50 things because I like it. Because it's part of who I am. I could work around to. I chose not to. This is my choice. Whether it's true, whether it's delusional, not for us to guess. But a lot of women I know, my friends in here, are saying we have done this by choice. Because we believe that children raised, you know, not by mothers, and mothers should be there if they're having children. Like, no, we can have working mothers, we're all just fine. I have heard friends' husbands say, you are spending a lot of money nowadays in front of others. Or if there's an argument. So women are much more brave. So they're like, hey, we need to buy this or something. And I've heard the husband saying, take it easy, man, how much are you spending?
And
This happens all the time.
Yes,
I witnessed this a lot.
How many bags do you need?
And then I keep saying, isn't that... I feel angry. I mean, if he spoke like that to me, I would...
But then what do you think about when it happens in families where the wife is not working?
But I think it's also kind of accepted. So there's two. There's one kind of woman who feels very upset, but then she wouldn't tolerate it. But mostly they think, it's in jest, what to bolega. And it's almost like an indulgent husband. It's also telling everybody, she spends, you know how much this woman spends? Yeah, she spends 4-5 lakhs a month just on XYZ, on these new foods, Sado. We're all looking like one. It is also a way of showing off, I keep my wife so well. And the woman's also like, oh, be quiet, yaar. There's a pride in that spending. And it's surprising there's still a small number. There's not a very large number of working women. You would think that we're a lot more, not the overwhelming ones, mostly.
But the younger crowd, they're all working, no?
Yeah, but they're all home. They're like home with their parents.
Okay.
A lot of them.
Not after marriage.
There are some, but a lot of women are they're homemakers. They have little toddlers. They're hanging around with them, and they're a lot more into fitness and self-care, which is a good thing. I think my generation missed what is self-care. I have always said that the Indian male suffers a great deal in what we call the provider burden. It is something that is across classes. Now that is the one thing, because if I am earning a lot of money, if my husband is not, it is still, he cannot, even if he is comfortable in it, that structure will never change. He will be shamed in that sort of thing. And a woman will say, you're living off me, because right now that power equation hasn't happened yet. There are very, very few cases of only the woman in the couples, working couples, they're working couples. Right? So that dynamic shift has not happened yet. Quintessentially, just like women are called having the, nurturer burden, or, the male has had a provider burden. That remains across classes, whereas within the poor and the lower socioeconomic groups, that is changing there.
बाहर वाले तो बाद में सुनाते हैं, घर वाले पहले, जैसे हमारे जेठ है वो मतलब बस उनको बिल्कुल, जो मेरे हस्बैंड, उनको बिल्कुल नहीं वो करते थे कि आशा काम करे, तो उनको हमेशा टोकते थे, कितने दिन और काम कराएगा, कितने दिन और कराएगा। मैं तो बोलती भैया मेरा खर्चा पानी दे दो, मैं किसी और के घर का तो छोड़ो, अपने घर का भी नहीं करूँगी, पैसे तो दे दो, अपना घर कैसे चलाएंगे। तो मतलब वो घर वाले भी ऐतराज करते हैं, जो घर के बड़े होते हैं, या उन्होंने नहीं, वो भले क्या बोलते चावल का पानी पी के रह लेंगे, लेकिन मेहनत करके खाना उनको बहुत,
पर बसंत भी तो करता है ना काम,
बसंत करता है, लेकिन मेरे से प्रॉब्लम
औरतों के लिए,
औरतों के लिए होता है,
औरतों को। सो इट्स हर हस्बैंड आल्सो वर्क्स, बट इट इज कि उसको कितना काम कराएगा, मतलब द प्रोवाइडर बर्डन, which I was saying, कि औरत की देखरेख बीवी की आदमी को करनी चाहिए, जिम्मेदारी उसकी है, उसका भी ताना ये हुआ कि तेरी बीवी काम कर रही है। औरतों को काम थोड़ी ना करना चाहिए।
और फिर जब उस पड़ाव से अब आते जाके देखे कि हमारा बच्चा अच्छा पढ़ रहा है, हम अच्छा रहे, तो अब वो बोलते हैं हाँ तुम लोग दोनों सुखी है। मतलब शुरू शुरू में तो सबको प्रॉब्लम रहती है, अब उनको लगता है सबसे अच्छी जिंदगी यही जी रहे हैं।
Because you have to see their son. What a smart young man he is.
तो मतलब इनके पास पैसा है, ये थोड़े दो जेवर पहन के आते हैं, मतलब थोड़ा खर्चा करते हैं, थोड़ा शहरी जैसे दिखते हैं, तो मतलब हम उनमें अच्छे हैं।
You find very few people claiming, like, let's say that story is very rare, with saying, you know, I have cracked the stock markets. Where are you hearing that? You'll hear, I have cracked the butter chicken recipe to taste just like moti meho. You're likely to hear that more. You're not likely to hear, you know, because when you've not been grown up, it's going to take a long time. We were not raised to learn about financial management and to learn driving. That's been a main domain till now. Not that, I mean, even if you were not taught cooking, nobody's saying that all women were, you know, came from very, this is your skill and all. Even if you didn't have that, women, like even the sciences and all are now being encouraged. Yeah. You know, there was never if you've not had that as a normative kind of experience, then it's going to take forever.
No, but I'm curious, why are they, is it because by selling their cupcakes, it's not that money is going to help them buy anything, it's going to be very meager. But why are they selling their cupcakes? Is it about like financial self-worth or what
Definitely.
is it?
I think it would be financial self-worth. Actually, I have a friend who's is a professional. I mean, she works elsewhere. She's an excellent bong cook. When lockdown happened, she was not going to work. And they said, start making. Then they said, okay, how much can you make? Then they said, okay, let's do feel good through food in these lockdown times. Let's all start this. And obviously you have to charge. You can't be sustaining prawn curries for people. So she started doing it. Her husband is telling me, I said, man, this is damn good, man. I'm so impressed. Like, yo, because I also ordered. And she said, oh, why did you pay? I said, no. I'm also going to order. And then her husband said, it's a completely losing venture. She's making, no, it's a loss making because she's too generous. She'll say, it looks so bad giving 3 prawns. So she's putting 5, whereas in that much you should be only getting 3. She said, not making, but she's happy. She likes feeding people. The part-timer, and then she's paying the part-timer to come and help her extra. So she's definitely in loss. But I'm like, then what is it? It's a feeling of self-worth. Maybe it's a feeling of community. So it's definitely not the income or the profit, let's say that way. Or maybe just the ability to generate another kind of income in any circumstance.
Yeah.